Hi, everybody. This is Yuri here from Adjust Media again. Just making a short video to address the updates between iOS 14, Apple, obviously, and Facebook, and the announcement that came out last week. I was pretty hesitant to make this video, to be honest with you, just because it's so fluid and dynamic, and we're still learning a lot more about it. But I've been asked by many people in groups that I'm associated with, as well as direct messages from clients about how this is going to affect their business, because there will be somewhat of an effect. We just don't know to what extent it is. And so in my response to that, I would just like to make a very quick informal video. As you can tell, I'm wearing my favorite tee, to address it and give you an opinion from an owner of an advertising agency, so-called expert in the field, so that we can better understand and plan for the future. With that said, this is just an opinion. I don't have any insider trading information, and just want to really address it in a way from a perspective of being very level-headed and tackling this and knowing that digital marketing and digital media in general is always changing. And this is just another challenge and hurdle that we will have to overcome and adjust accordingly. So for the most part, last week, Apple announced that there will be limited tracking within iOS 14. And that goes across all apps for consumer privacy, and that includes Facebook. And so what we know now is that it will limit tracking to an extent that it will impact businesses. But I don't think it's as bad as it seems, to be honest, right from the get-go. Facebook has announced that the 8 standard events that you currently track on your website are still going to be firing. Those standard events are events much like view content, view category, page view, add to cart, initiate checkout, purchase, and all the values associated to that. So if you're a traditional small to medium-sized e-commerce business, you should be okay for now. Don't quote me on it. Don't hate me if I'm wrong. It's just an opinion. But based off of the announcement and the verbiage surrounding that announcement, those are still going to fire. What we know is that anything outside of those 8 standard events, which you can find on the Facebook website, those will automatically not fire anymore. And as a result, Facebook is going to automatically pause those campaigns. So what are those? Those are traditionally used in much larger e-com to help the marketers and the executive teams understand what precisely is going on. So that could be a particular button click that can be tracked with setting up the pixel via the Facebook tool. It could be leads. It could be custom conversions surrounding purchases above a certain value. So there are a lot of custom conversions and pixel events outside of the 8 standard ones that you can set up that will no longer be tracked. But if you are traditional small to medium-sized e-commerce, which the majority of you in these groups or someone who is watching a YouTube video of this are or is, you should not be as affected as you may seem to be at the beginning. So what else do we know? Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes on the other screen. So we know this is starting mid-January. We know that 8 standard events will work, whereas custom events will not work. We know that if you're a traditional small to medium-sized e-commerce business that rely on those 8 particular events, you may not be as affected as you think. And we also know that there is a new policy that Facebook requires you to verify your domain within your business admin in order to proceed with this. So this is very easy to do. You just navigate. Actually, I'll try and share my screen really quickly here if it will let me. Not sure if it will. Doesn't look like it is, but or it has been the whole time. Nonetheless, you're going to go to your business settings. So that's business.facebook.com. You're going to go to the left side where it says brand safety domains. You're going to add a domain and you're going to follow the steps there. It basically just makes you add a TXT record to your particular domain so that Facebook and your domain can now be verified. So you need to do that. Since the original announcement, we also know that Tim Cook has tweeted that there will be an option for users to allow Facebook to track outside of these 8 events, but by default, it will be the 8 only. And within that pop-up, when they first log in, there's a question saying, allow Facebook to track your activity across other companies' apps and websites. And the default is ask app not to track. And then the secondary option is allow. So if they click allow, you're allowed more than 8. If you're asking the app not to track, it's only those 8 events. What do we not know from this? So there are a lot of unknowns, a lot of unknowns. But the 3 main buckets that I can come up with being a Facebook advertiser is, number 1, how does this affect audiences? So if you download, let's say, a cooking app, like a cookbook, does Facebook get the data knowing that that particular user is interested in cooking? We don't know how that affects interest-based audiences. We don't know how it affects custom audiences. So if they see an ad on the Facebook app, click to your site, do we know what URLs they've been to, or do we just know that a particular standard event has fired? We still don't know that. Something else we don't know is how it affects the audience network. When Facebook mentions that it will significantly impact reach, this is the first place it's going to impact reach. If you're logged into Candy Crush or you're logged into Fruit Ninja, and those are both part of the Facebook audience network, which probably all of you advertisers use within your retargeting placements, will you be able to reach your customers there? We don't know that. Chances are probably not, or at least over time that will be phased out as Apple introduces their own advertising ecosystem, which is definitely something that they're planning to do. And lastly, how does it affect dynamic retargeting? How does it affect your dynamic product ads? If a user viewed your black hoodie versus your white hoodie, if those are on the same page and they're just color variants, will we receive the information back showcasing, hey, this user saw a black hoodie, or did they just see a hoodie? We don't know that either. So that's a step further in terms of the pixel, where it fires the content, the view content within the view content, there's a subcategory called Content ID. We don't know if that's going to fire back. And that's what the dynamic product ads use in order to serve up the exact product that a user just visited on your site. So we don't know how that will affect anything. This was extremely informal. I'll try and update everybody in the future as this comes out. I could, 2 months down the line, bite my tongue and be completely wrong about this. But my biggest tell is that there are 8 standard events that still fire. And for the 20 clients that Adjust Media manages, those are the 8 standard events that matter to us. And so when Facebook announces, hey, this will severely impact you, it may not stop tracking altogether, but it will limit you and prohibit you from tracking everything. I think that they're really referring to the larger businesses that rely on those custom conversions and events outside of those 8 standard events, whereas traditional e-commerce, small Shopify store owners, maybe Shopify Plus owners rely on those 8. It won't impact it as much as you think it will. And then also Audience Network, in my opinion, is not one of the premium placements. And because of that, I don't think it's going to affect your conversion volume that much. But I hope this was informative and that, this has given you some or shed some light on what this change is going to look like. Leave your comments below. I'll try my best to answer everything. Again, this is just an opinion. It's quite informal, and I hope that this was informative for you, and look forward to hearing from you. Thanks, guys. You're here from Adjust, and see you in the comments.